Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Real Time, where we talk about the movies we like.
And the ones we don't.
I'm Tyler.
And I'm Molly.
Today, we're going to be looking at Disney's latest attempt at a live-action remake of one of their classic animated movies. This year, 2025's Lilo and Stitch.
Yes, I remember when I first found out they were making it into a live action, I was like, of course, another money grab effort. And, yeah.
Yeah, more or less. However, thanks to earlier this year's live-action remake of Snow White, they're pumping the brakes on those. And after this one, yeah, I'm kind of glad that Snow White is kind of killing that trend for them.
Yeah, I was tired of the live action remakes pretty much as soon as they started. To me, it's like I would much rather watch the original, the classic. And I mean, it's classic for a reason. And with the remakes, it's just they lose some sort of they lose that magic and the qualities that made it so good in the first place.
Yeah, and to be fair, let's be fair, there have been some successes in these live action remakes. The Jungle Book remake was okay. I'd rather watch the animated version, but this one's not bad. The 101 Dalmatians remake that they made in the late 90s, early 2000s, I forgot which one, was decent enough. And that Christopher Robin sequel they did was fine.
Yeah, I don't remember too much, but I remember, the Jungle Book I liked. It's been a very, very long time since I saw the Dalmatian one, and I remember watching the Winnie the Pooh one, but I don't remember much about it.
And I'm probably one of the few people who would say this, but the Little Mermaid remake was decent. It wasn't great, but it was fine enough.
I did not see it. I just never went.
But now let's get to the subject of this video, the Lilo and Stitch remake. And so we saw it at our local drive-in. Let's get some of the positives out of the way because there's not going to be a whole lot of those coming forward. Our local drive-in movie theater, the Rock and Roll Drive-In, great drive-in experience. We got sat in the front row because the owner, Chuck Stratton, likes us, and he has a very good setup there. Some very good hardworking employees and likable staff, and it's overall a fun experience to go there to see movies.
Yeah, they have their own concession stand and their own ice cream place. But today they also have food trucks there. They had a sushi vendor there, and I got some spicy shrimp sushi with an extra side of spicy mayo.
Yeah, so if you're in the Cape Girardeau area in Missouri, definitely check out Rock and Roll Drive-In. It's a fun experience for the whole family.
Yeah, it is. It is a really good time.
We're not sponsored by them, by the way. We don't have that kind of pull, but I'm saying all this for free. Go to the Rock and Roll Drive-In. It's a great time.
Yeah, it is.
Anyways, on to the movie. Enough of my shilling. So, about halfway through, I had to, because we brought our kid with us. I had to get up and go change her. And honestly, that was a much less crappy experience than actually watching the movie.
And her diaper was full of poop.
Yes, it was. So most of my problems with this movie are all character based. So let's take that by the characters through this IMDb cast list. All right.
Okay, let's go.
Maya Kealoha plays Lilo this time around, and she's a little kid. I'm not going to be too harsh on her acting skills. Okay, child actors are usually not very good, so I'm just not going to say anything on that.
Yeah, I had the same thought. Like every once in a while, I'm like, her acting isn't the best, but again, she is a child, so I can't judge.
Now, as for her character, I have some issues, but like nothing major. She's not quite as endearing as the original Lilo was in the original movie, but she works fine enough, I guess.
Yeah, I had the same thought. I don't find myself liking her quite as much as cartoon Lilo, but maybe that's just because I'm a little biased towards the original too.
Now, Sydney Agudong plays Nani, Lilo's older sister, who's taking care of her after the death of their parents, and she just again. So let's preface the rest of this. None of these people are doing bad jobs acting wise. They're all delivering their lines, and they're believable. Okay, nothing's going wrong there. But this version of Nani just seems a bit too. Like on the one hand, she seems really like she doesn't want to be taking care of Lilo, but at the same time, still doing it out of obligation. So it doesn't seem like she's doing it out of love like her original counterpart.
Yeah, I get what you mean there.
Like yeah, the original Nani was also beleaguered by work and trying to find another job and the stresses of taking care of her little sister and having to give up her dreams and all that. But she at least made an effort to not want to make Lilo stressed out. She didn't want to put any of those problems on her. This Nani is just is feeling free to do that just because she had a bad day and got fired from work.
Yeah. Mhm.
Now, Chris Sanders, the original one of the original directors and the original voice of Stitch, plays Stitch again here, and I have no problems with Stitch, none at all. He acts pretty much how I expected him to act, and I have no complaints.
Yeah, he's cute, and yeah, I think he does act about the same as what he did in the cartoon.
Yes, I've seen some people say that he acts more like an exaggerated version of Stitch from like Disney marketing and stuff, and like from the animated series and animes that came later on. But I don't really have a complaint with that. Stitch is fine,
Yeah, I think so.
and he didn't look absolutely cursed in live action. So good job to the CGI artists and the animators.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, I thought he was cute. He looked pretty good.
Now, Zach Galifianakis as Jumba, on the other hand. So let's get this out of the way. Jumba and Pleakley spend most of their movies in their human forms, which on the one hand I get because there's only so much of suspension of belief one can do when it comes to these live action remakes. In animated form, these obvious aliens can be dressed up in human disguises, and you could believe that all right, maybe no one notices, or because it's animated, it's more of a joke that they can't blend in. Here, it'd be incredibly obvious that they would stick out like a sore thumb. So, using this weird alien technology they use to clone people so that they can take on their appearances, fine, whatever. For purposes of story, it kind of sucks, but whatever, I get it. Zach Galifianakis didn't really fit as Jumba, in my opinion. His voice did not fit the Jumba's body when he was in alien form. It was just too high, too nasally, just not intimidating.
Yeah, I agree, because Jumba has this, like, much lower voice, and which makes him seem a little bit more, I don't know. It's just very different. He got changed a lot. And I do, like, I am a big Zach Galifianakis fan, but I do think that his voice just didn't quite fit the character in this movie.
Yeah, and you might say, well, Jumbo wasn't intimidating in the original version either, so why are you complaining that he isn't now? Well, here's the thing, though. In the original movie, he wasn't meant to be the main bad guy. He was just sent to go capture Stitch, and then eventually in addition to his more sympathetic qualities, he ends up teaming up with with Stitch and Nani to get Lilo back, and ends up as part of Lilo's found family. Here, he is the main villain for some reason. They cut out Gantu entirely, which is stupid to me. But here, he is meant to be the main villain and meant to be some sort of intimidating. So why would you go this route with Zach Galifianakis? Don't get me wrong, I like him as an actor, just not as Jumba. It's
Yeah. Also, Jumba didn't look like how I thought he would in live action.
yeah, he looked like a straight up shaved ball sack, if I'm being completely honest.
Yeah. I guess I did expect him to be hairy. Like, they gave him, like, hair, like, you know, his dark brown spots were hair. And I guess in the cartoon, I always pictured it as just skin.
Yeah, skin.
And so I was like, well, he's hairy. That's a little weird.
Yeah. So now on to Bleakley. Billy Magnuson plays him, and I have no complaints here either.
Yeah, if I'm gonna be honest, I think he was my favorite character adaptation.
Yeah, like honestly, he's a little bit different from his cartoon counterpart. He's a bit more. He's a bit more into learning about Earth, but I don't know. It's kind of endearing.
Yeah, I thought he was likable and you know, funny. He had some comedic relief times, but yeah, I liked him.
Courtney B. Vance plays Cobra Bubbles, and so from the start of his first scene, we see that he's CIA. Like in the animated version, it only came at the end. So when he reveals that to Nani and Lilo and them at the end here, it's like, yeah, we know that already.
Yeah, it's not a surprise.
Also, he's not really too intimidating here either. Which, again, Cobra Bubbles was a stern but well-meaning character in the original version who was looking out for Lilo's benefit when he saw that she wasn't in the best home life, and it also turned out that he had contact with the aliens. But here it's like he doesn't quite have contact with them. He's just looking out for alien life for the CIA. And I think it was really funny at the end when the Grand Councilwoman asks, "How can we trust you?" and he just says, "Trust me." And she's just, okay. Like, she does not have much experience on Earth if she's willing to trust the CIA.
Yeah. Also, another big change is he does not start out as Lilo's social worker.
Well, he does go undercover as like the head of their department, to be fair.
Yeah, but he's not Lilo's number one, because in the animated version he's the social worker at the very beginning.
Yeah.
And here there's a different social worker.
Also, no disrespect to Courtney B. Vance. Again, he did a fine job in this role, but why couldn't you just gotten Ving Rhames again? Like, he was right there. He was Cobra Bubbles in the original movie. Like, and he's a decently intimidating looking guy. He could have done this just fine.
Yeah, I don't know what he looks like, but if he looks like his character, if he's kind of bigger, then I think that would have been.
Think Marcellus Wallace from Pulp Fiction.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now, granted, that was 30 years ago, so he doesn't quite look like that anymore. But still, Ving Rhames. Again, Courtney B. Vance did a fine job, but I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
We have Amy Hill and as Tutu, an original character for this movie. She's sort of a surrogate grandmother figure to Lilo, and well, she's not an adaptation of a character from the original, so I don't have anything much to say.
Yeah, she's her neighbor.
But she is the grandmother of David, played by Kaipo Deduit in this version, who is, well, let's be honest, he's kind of a dumbass.
Yeah. I don't think he doesn't really do too much this movie.
No, like David in the original had himbo energy, but this David is just, I feel like he has problems, okay?
Yeah, I guess.
We also have a couple of cameos from the original version. Tia Carrere plays Mrs. Keikoa, the main social worker that is working with Nani and Lilo. So that was nice to see.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And we also have Jason Scott Lee, the original voice of David, as the luau manager of the luau that Nani's working at.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And we also have Hannah Waddingham as the Grand Councilwoman, who's honestly, she has a bit more life in her than the original version. She's allowed to be more expressive and have a bit more of a personality here, so that's fine too, I guess.
Yeah. No complaints.
Now, you've probably heard our thoughts on the original version. When my sister Kate was coming out here to visit us, she assisted us in that episode. So, yeah, this movie is basically a sauceless version of the original. All right, it's just the same thing except worse, and everything that was likable in that original version is done it's either a David version or it's done worse in this version.
Yeah, when I was watching it, I was just thinking, man, I would probably be having a much better time if I was watching the original right now.
And really, that also speaks to the ending too, because okay, so in the original, they rebuild the house, and Jumba, Pleakley, and Cobra Bubbles become sort of a surrogate family to Lilo and Nani. Great, that's fine. Here, yeah, they rebuild the house and all, but Lilo is still taken away from Nani, but she's just moved next door to Tutu and David's house. So, but then she's also living in the same house that she and Nani were living in before, and Nani goes off to study marine biology. Okay, so there's some sort of separation here, but at the same time, Nani's using the portal gun that Jumbo and Pleakley brought to come see her. So it's like, what was the point of taking her out of the house if you're just going to leave her in the house and Nani can still see her? Like, it seems like there's no consequences here. There's no sense of stakes or emotions at all.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Because yeah, it's like, her being taken away didn't matter, and Nani leaving for college didn't matter either, because they still see each other every day.
And it's like, what's the point of doing this if you're not going to follow through on these consequences at all? You're not.
Yeah, it seemed like it ended that way just so it could have a happy ending, and it didn't want to, experiment with if it ended differently, I guess. I don't know.
But maybe I am being a bit too harsh on this movie, because we were surrounded by some kids who were watching this movie at the drive-in with us, and they seemed to all have a nice time. So maybe it's just not for me. Okay, I'm still not gonna say I like this or that it's a good movie, but I'm probably the wrong age group.
Yeah, that's also probably it. The kid, yeah, all the kids were having a good time. Even our baby was having a good time. She did fall asleep towards the end, but
She probably had a better time than me then.
yeah.
And there are a few more things that I did like in this version. I like that they brought back some of the classic songs from the original. They were done nicely by the same school that did the original versions, so that was nice. Like I said, Lilo is done fine enough. Stitch is basically the same. Pleakley is a good adaptation, and the Grand Councilwoman is fine enough.
Yeah. Yeah. There were some good parts, even though we seem to mainly talk about the bad things. There still was a lot to like.
Yeah, but that's just how these live-action Disney remakes go. They're just pale imitations of the original, and that's really all that they are. So, unless you have anything more to say?
Maybe Clementine does. What do you have to say about the movie? You watched it. Did you like it?
She's got stage fright. Yeah. Never mind. So, we'll see you next time.
See you next time.